Hello my friends, this is Alexander Marquez with another powerful video that's going to help you grow a successful business. And on my last video, I started talking about email marketing. And today I'm going to continue to cover how you can master email marketing. And I'm going to give you 9 tips. 9 tips that are going to allow you to prosper with email marketing. Tip number 1 is going to be connected to the remaining 8 tips. And tip number 1 is that if you want to get the positive engagement with your email marketing campaigns, you have to use this element that I'm about to mention. You have to become a master storyteller, because maybe you'll get people to open up your emails with a clever title, or sometimes people will do with a misleading title that has nothing to do with the content, which I don't recommend. But you might get away with that, with getting them to open the email. But once they're inside the email, if the content is dull, then your marketing campaigns are going to be highly ineffective. So tip number 1 is you have to become a master storyteller, and not only tell stories, but tell stories that connect to your offer, that connect to your business. So you have to get creative when it comes to this, and you have to master storytelling. But I'm not just going to leave you with that. I'm going to tell you exactly what kind of stories you need to be telling in order to be successful. And that takes me to tip number 2. The first story that you have to tell them is, how have you been growing in your life recently? What kind of books are you reading? What kind of audios are you listening to? What kind of motivational videos have you been listening to? So this is a great way to tell a short story. I'm reading this book and I came across this amazing idea, and I wanted to share it with you, and then find a way to connect it to your offer. So that's number 1, the first story, which is tip number 2. Tip number 3 is share funny stories. People love to be entertained. People love to laugh and have a good time. So if there's any funny stories that you've experienced over time, or if you know of other people that have had funny experiences, feel free to share those inside of your email. Once again, always connecting it to your product or service. Tip number 4 is the third kind of story you want to tell in your emails. And the third kind of story is, if you have gotten negative feedback. You always see some of the top marketers, some of the top video creators online do segments where they share the negative feedback that they're getting, negative emails, sometimes people cursing at them, and it's highly entertaining. The audience loves it. They're very popular segments. So if you're getting hate mail, share it and make light of it. This will be entertaining. People love this kind of information. So tip number 5, and the fourth kind of story you want to say in your emails, is use the power of comparisons. So if you, depending on what market you're in, if you're in a market, like for example, if you're in the weight loss market, if you're aware, that's why you need to study your market. If you're aware of negative experiences that people have had with a certain product, then you want to use the power of comparison, because you want to tell in your story how there's people, or a certain person that had a negative experience with a certain weight loss product, if that's your market. And at the end of your email, you share with them how, in comparison, how your product is superior, and how it doesn't have some of the drawbacks that other product has. So you use comparison stories where you compare yourself to failing products, and how you can guarantee them that they will not face the same issues. So use the power of comparison. Tip number 6 is the fifth story you need to be telling in your emails. And this is to simply tell controversial stories. Controversy sells. That's why people love to watch gossip shows, celebrity gossip shows. When you go to the supermarket, you see all these outrageous magazines making outrageous claims. Most of the time, not even true. But this gets people to buy all these tabloid publications because they're making outrageous and controversial claims. So there's a celebrity that everyone knows that all of a sudden is an alcoholic and is beating his wife. And so the shock of this makes people want to buy that magazine. So be controversial. If you know controversial stories, controversial gossip, share it with your audience. And of course, the main subjects you want to talk about is anything that's sexual, anything that's money related, anything that involves some kind of romance story. These topics are usually attract. So obviously you have to use them with good taste and connect it to your product. But if you brainstorm, you should get creative when it comes to this. So the bottom line is tell controversial stories. Tip number 7 is the sixth story that you should be incorporated into your email campaign is show them how people love it when the little guys succeed. When the little guys did something to overcome all obstacles. That's why they love the David and Goliath story, because David, here's this weak individual in comparison to Goliath, and how he, against all odds, was able to defeat Goliath. So if you have that story, if you have that David, share that David inside of you. Like in my case, I always like to talk about the time that I lost 80 pounds. I was 230 pounds. I was there was not a pleasant moment in my life. I mean, I had low confidence. I had very little social skills. I wouldn't have been able to make this video back then. But then I woke up one day and I decided I had enough. And I decided that I was going to lose 80 pounds. And sure enough, through a lot of hard work, through proper dieting, through persistent exercise, I was able to get rid of those 80 pounds within a matter of 4 to 6 months. So this is my story of being an underdog and overcoming obstacles. So share your underdog story of how you, against all odds, you succeeded in something in life, and how you're an example of how they can do it too, and find a way to connect it to your product. Tip number 8, and the 7th story that you should be saying is just share your mess ups with your audience. Don't be afraid to tell them how you screwed up in something and how the experience was very stressful, but how you were ultimately able to overcome it. People want to know that they can relate to you, because we all make mistakes. You don't want to come across as a Mr. Perfect or a Mrs. Perfect, as some form of superhero that's untouchable. This is one of the reasons why people can relate to a character like Captain America, which is my favorite character, because yeah, he doesn't have outrageous superpowers, but they love the fact that his character, his leadership skills. So tell them how you messed up. You're a flawed human being, but you're able to overcome your mistakes and you're able to correct them. Tip number 9, and this is the 8th type of story you need to be communicating in your email campaigns, is basically how things changed for you. What was the turning point in your life? People love to hear about this, about how you struggled, you were struggling for many years. Tell your story of struggle, of how one time you just had this great awakening, and from that point on it was a turning point in your life. Tell that story in your emails. Tell them how you struggled for years trying to find out the proper diet on how to lose weight, or trying to find out the perfect business to start. so that you would be able to not have to live paycheck to paycheck. Tell them when that finally you achieved that breakthrough that took you to the next level. People love to examine stories of those kind of breakthroughs that are absolutely impressive that people have in their lives. So tell them your story of when you achieved that breakthrough that took you to a new level, and how they can do it as well if they buy your product or service. So I have given you 9 tips, which include 8 stories. The first tip was become a master storyteller, and the next 8 tips were what kind of stories you need to be incorporating into your email campaigns. Apply these 9 tips and you will become a master at email marketing. My name is Alexander Marquez. Don't forget to visit my blog at alexandermarquez.net. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the links on below this video if you're watching on YouTube to support me and this channel. And I'll see you on my next video. Take care.